Well, hello, welcome everybody live from OpenStack Summit here in Austin. End of day 2. I'm sitting live in the Austin Convention Center in front of one of the logos, which was used, I believe, in the keynote earlier today, trying to give my little rambling here a little bit of an OpenStack flair. Hope the background noise as usual is going to be good. What are the key takeaways of the event? I mean, it's nice to see OpenStack coming back to its root where the very first OpenStack Summit happened. Then with 75 attendees, this time 70,500 attendees, so 2 zeros added, shows great momentum, shows a good presence of it, talking to exhibitors and sponsors and people who have attended many of these OpenStack Summits, including one person of the original 75. They said that compared even to Vancouver, which was the last North American summit 1 year ago, it's a significant sign of maturation happening in the OpenStack community. Much more suits being here than jeans. Good or bad, I still wear my jeans, but it means more decision makers, more corporate interest coming to OpenStack, which overall is, of course, a good sign for any kind of software out there which targets the enterprise like OpenStack does. The major news really was the launching of the certification effort. I talked about it in my first take yesterday already. Always a good move to take the fear and concern of enterprise about something new and complex out of things with a certification. The certification gives enterprises a standard understanding what can a person, a consultant, a specialist, or an employee do. And at the same time, interesting, as long as OpenStack, and haven't looked at in detail, gets the certification levels right. Also interesting for employees and consultants to achieve these certification levels. So a good move by the OpenStack Foundation to get this going, maybe even a little late, but it's never too late, so good to see that. The other thing that there can be no question about it, if you're a telco, if you're doing network abstraction, if you're doing networking by design, networking on demand, network design, software design, networking. Sorry, it's a long day over here. There's no way around it. If you don't want to pay for it from open source perspective, there's no way around OpenStack. Every telco out there, AT&T was on stage, Verizon was on stage, NTT was there as winner of the Super User Award a year ago, does use OpenStack for that. No question about it. Equally attractive, probably the only solution there in the same perspective, don't pay for it, make sure it's open source, have a large community for it. Out there is the ISV space. I mean, SAP, largest enterprise software company, was on stage in the keynote, spoke to us in the Analyst Summit, is standardizing in OpenStack, creating one abstraction layer, putting there all different 23 in-house build and acquire different cloud platforms on top of that ultimately. That's going to be a long journey for anyone, also long journey for SAP. We'll be watching, that's going to be very interesting. And also equally mentioned Workday, one of the hottest software as a service vendors in the HCM and our finance category, adding that up too, equally using OpenStack. The main attraction there is for the ISV, own the stack, and even though they're officially not saying this, having a backdoor to put something on premises if you want to. Not that their SaaS provider like Workday would do that, but theoretically, practically, that option exists. Equally, and that's the third area which goes really well for OpenStack, is put in data centers in countries where there's, due to the invalidation of the safe harbor agreement and other logical data statutory pieces. Think of the Russian mandate to keep Russian data in the country since October of last year, to keep things there. And that's an opportunity for infrastructure as a service vendors. And how can they provide that infrastructure? That's the only way. Spoke even to a very small 10 people infrastructure as a service vendor in Germany, the first one to run OpenStack, still only 10 employees, but works well for infrastructure as a service on any kind of scale. So good to see that can be done. The main thing in the demo today was actually the CEO of OpenSource CoreOS showing an abstraction or running all the components of OpenStack in containers. And with containers, there comes all the power of orchestration, automation, building that in software. So I think that was a very good thing and will be interesting because it could save OpenStack from this big challenge which this foundation is trying to tackle with the certification. But if you could have software provision containers in different ways to run your applications on top of an already provisioned OpenStack stack below it, that could be very, very interesting. It's always better to scale through software than people. On the flip side, it's bad news for an OpenStack professional who's making money as a consultant or as an employee, because automation is going to go to you. But I think overall a good thing. Don't do routine tasks, get rid of repetitive tasks. So overall a good move. And then let's look at the next release, which is coming up. Mitaka has some, I think, the right tones here from a perspective, because still user experience is key and crucial for OpenStack, no question about that. Manageability has been always on top. We shared some user surveys in the presentation of the main themes. I'm talking about 3 themes for the next release for Mitaka. Manageability has always been top. Of course, you want to run it better, no question. Scalability is the third one, which is interesting, as anybody we talk to says scalability is fine, is good, and so on. There's a vibrant ecosystem with Tuckaway, tons of startups walk the show floor. We'll do some more tweets on this, tons of service offering which are happening around there, and kind of like almost feels a little bit like a VM world where it's a who is who of the IT industry. Pretty much everybody is here also is who is who in the IT industry. Smaller than VM world, less marketing spend, no question about that, but everybody's here who wants to do something with OpenStack, including Microsoft, Oracle. As we mentioned, SAP was here already. You wouldn't expect from the first round. So coming to my point of view, 7,500 attendees, very good outcome, a record outcome for an OpenStack Summit, more senior. Talked to many sponsors, talked to many exhibitors, many foundation members. Everybody seems to be happy about that. It also looks that the HP Open Cloud build on OpenStack has that exit from resources. HP went from #1 contributor to smallest contributor, went away from, I think it was Vancouver, where 2 out of 5 attendees had an HP paycheck. All of that is done well. Massive change, of course, from a contribution attention for someone like OpenStack or a foundation like OpenStack, but it looks like the new release with Mitaka is on track, and it looks like that drop of attention investment potentially from HP has been buffered well from a roadmap perspective and as well as from an event perspective. I said what works, NFV, SDN for telcos works, ISV for cloud and on-premise works, and IaaS with territory twist is what's really working well for OpenStack. We heard finally from some North American vendors. Listen to my first talk, I was critical that not so much it's a North American event, right? 7,500 attendees, very local, over 1,000 from Texas, almost 1,000 from Texas. So it shows how the location of the summit also determines who is kind of like attending the summit. So very good traction from that perspective, but it's important to speak about North American customers too. Large ones like Walmart and Wells Fargo are seeing encouraging results, expanding their investment in OpenStack, and that's an important message to hear. Mentioned the certification effort, thumbs up for that. Mentioned it's almost like VMworld, only at a smaller scale, and it's good to see that simplification, usability are still key. So overall, I think a good OpenStack Summit. If there's one thing to, and I probably will put this in the blog post, one thing to kind of like be concerned, and the OpenStack leadership kind of like went around this. They showed the adoption of OpenStack across from proof of concept, development, test, QA, and to full production in a chart from 2013 to 2016, so a long time frame. While in 2013, these 3 categories were kind of like balanced out, almost the same from a third. By now, the production number of customers and production deployments is double to that, so it's close to 2/3, which on the one side is a very good sign because it means customers are using it and doing things. But seeing the proof of concepts being down, which is like the first way for enterprise to play and dabble with OpenStack, by almost half, from 34% to 14%, that could be a problem in terms of pipeline who's adopting newly OpenStack, and covers a little bit what we hear from customers who kind of like in North America, outside of North America, totally different story, have kind of like made their bet on the public cloud properties and they're less looking at private cloud deployment, which mainly OpenStack powers. So that's the one concern. We'll have to watch that. It could be totally fluke in the data, the way how the survey was done. It's good to see more customers in production than more customers doing point of concepts tests. That's certainly true. So overall, a very good OpenStack Summit. It was great to be here, get a feeling for the whole ecosystem, for the attendees, for the vendors and the players, speak to a lot of customers and partners. So overall, a very good event. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. That's it from me. Over and from Austin with the big yellow bus in the background. And as usually, I keep my fingers crossed that the audio was good enough. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.